She is Rania Lampu ma'am from Greece, a global educator. And these days, who doesn't want STEM? Because life is incomplete without STEM. ICT teacher trainer, neuro education, researcher, Greek Ministry of Education, and innovation expert. Over to you, Rania Lampu ma'am.
Please unmute yourself.
Okay, warm greetings from Greece to all of you. I'm very, very honored and happy to be invited in this wonderful event, the Global Peace Award and Symposium, and I warmly thank Dr. Sonali for her kind invitation. Unfortunately, war has returned to Europe, a major war between Ukraine and Russia, and we may foresee a definitive rupture in world politics at the point of no return in a new Cold War. A war in Europe could quickly escalate into a global conflagration, and I believe that we are on the verge of a third world war. And if a third world war to erupt, it could entail an unprecedented level of destruction due to the likelihood that weapons of mass destruction could be used. At the same time, we are in the post-COVID era, and we know how COVID pandemic created devastating social, economic, and political effects because COVID threatened peace-building gains, and therefore commitment to sustaining peace is more urgent than ever. This crisis, this pandemic, has highlighted how fragile and complex the global socioeconomic system is, because in a matter of weeks, global travel and trade systems collapsed, social norms changed radically, rights and liberties which have been taken for granted, such as the freedom of movement and association, were invoked, and how social values were reoriented. And at the same time, it was obvious that our world lacks an effective approach to deal with such crises. So if we observe this situation and its impact through a human rights lens, this puts a focus how it is affecting people on the ground, in particular the most vulnerable among us, and what we can do about this now in the long term. Because guaranteeing human rights for everyone poses challenges for every country, and yet the impact is real, is unemployment, the food insecurity has risen to unprecedented levels in many countries within a very short space of time. Widespread closure of schools has interrupted the education of more than 1 billion children. Our reduction of care and protection services for children has increased children's vulnerability to violence, exploitation, and abuse. We have seen how the strategies to contain the virus were difficult for those without good quality, say, housing or physical distancing, self-isolation, and these were impossible for the homeless or residents of slums. And another crucial issue, especially for here in Greece, was the case, the issue of refugees. We have seen how COVID was sweeping through high-density informal settlements and refugee migrant camps where physical distancing was challenging, and access of health services limiting the populations, especially vulnerable to disease. So we talk about how all this crisis raises particular concern for the marginalized, and marginalization creates vulnerability, and this could raise tension and could provoke civil unrest. The instability and fear that this crisis creates is exacerbating the human rights concerns such as discrimination, also certain groups, hate speech, xenophobia, attacks and forced returns of asylum seekers, mistreatment of migrants, and sexual and gender-based violence, as well as limited access to reproductive health and rights. So I think that it's a time now, more than ever, that human rights are needed to navigate this crisis in a way that will allow us, as soon as possible, to focus again on achieving equitable, sustainable development and sustaining peace. It's interesting to see that Global Peace Index is the world's leading measure of global peacefulness, which has developed the Positive Peace Index, which measures the attitudes, institutions, and structures that create and sustain peaceful societies. These indicators are likely to be negatively impacted by the COVID pandemic. So we have seen how this undermines sustainable development at a time in which efforts need to be accelerated to implement the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And however, I think that this could be a great resetter for economies, societies, and education, because this has created opportunities for peace. So within this framework, peace education is of crucial importance because education projects could be an effective way to promote sustainable development goals and positive peace. Education plays a crucial role in building defenses of peace in the minds of children, and it tries to inculcate human and social values in minds, and attempts to develop a set of skills necessary for peaceful living and peace building. So it's something which is holistic. It embraces the total emotional, intellectual, social growth of children. And also is skill building because it empowers children to creative and non-destructive ways to settle conflict and to live in harmony with themselves, with others, and the world. So educators, governments, decision policy makers need to incorporate peace education in all curricula and the development of learning materials, because inclusion of peace values and activities will make the subject more meaningful and interesting to learners in many ways. This way, schools can develop a more humanistic management approach. They can improve standard of living. They can develop creativity and help healthy emotional development in students. What I'm doing, I'm a global educator, STEM instructor, founder of many humanitarian international STEM projects implemented mostly in Africa and Asia, and they are addressed to the privileged children. The first one was about water awareness. It was implemented in Malawi, and the impact there was great because together with some teachers of the program, we achieved to obtain donations, sanitation, filtered equipment. We're talking about students who did not have any school supplies at all. We talk about students who had to walk about 90 minutes to find clean water to drink. And furthermore, 6 wells were drilled and constructed in an area of Malawi where children, as I said before, were thirsty. At the same time, I'm a founder of another project which was implemented in India, and it was about food awareness and how educators propose suggested ways of healthy food combinations in times of food shortage. And this was great success because it inspired many teachers in India to visit slums to educate to families and donate them food and money. Apart from this, here in Greece, I teach as a volunteer for students with special needs, children at the ecological hospital and of refugees. And I'm fighting also for the equality between women and men, the field of natural sciences, because women, we all know, around the world, girls are still underrepresented in the field of STEM. So I'm trying to encourage and empower women in this field through many activities. My recent program was called Gender-Based Violence, Why Peace is a Much Better Option. It was implemented with great success in Nigeria. It is inspired by high rates of gender-based violence there. And it's a program which combines gender-based violence awareness with STEM education and arts. Of course, through this program, or this project cannot stop wars, but they can try to promote positive peace, because positive peace is based on sustainable investment, stability, and high standard of living. That's why they are addressed to the privileged children who suffer from the disadvantages of negative peace, such as lack of water and food. So I'm trying to make negative peace look like more positive peace. Apart from this, we need to live in peace not only with ourselves, our world, but with our environment and our planet. So this case, peace goes along with climate change, environmental education, because environmental education aims for a democratic, inclusive society in which environmentally literate community members possess a sense of empowerment and agency and participate with creativity and responsibility. So we need environmental education framework also, because environmentally literate community members are willing and able to act on their own conclusions about what should be done to ensure environmental quality, social equity, economic prosperity. So here in Greece, working at the Greek Ministry of Education, the Directorate of Educational Technology and Innovation, launched a new program which is addressed to primary school students, and it's called SOS We're Changing the Earth's Climate. It's an interdisciplinary STEAM project that aims to raise children's awareness of the climate change, and it combines environmental education, STEM education, and arts. Of course, it focuses on 5 Sustainable Development Goals. And through this program, students have the opportunity to learn about the climatic zones of the Earth, to get acquainted with various ways in which humans intentionally or unintentionally affect the Earth's environment. And in this way, they can realize their own involvement and responsibility towards problems, and this way they can cultivate the creativity to find solutions for a world without environmental programs. Utilizing exploratory discovery learning methods, experiential collaborative approaches, teachers can solve authentic problems and express themselves artistically. So obviously it's a project that highlights, informs and sensitizes, cultivates the concept of global citizenship, and through this program, students are encouraged to deal systematically at an early age with scientific environmental issues, and therefore they can enhance the social sensitivity, the ecological consciousness, and the environmental responsibility. So by concluding, I want to say that we don't know about how the war, for instance, in Ukraine will unfold. So the prospect of peace, prosperity, and respect for the rule of law are very important right now. The challenge now in front of this renewed great power rivalry is to uphold the sense of peace as a common purpose and build a stronger and more resilient world. The relationship between peace and sustainable development is important to achieve the objective of social cohesion, living together, and to move away from the culture of war and violence. Peace, remember, is not the highest goal in life, it's the most fundamental requirement. And as Albert Einstein said, peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Rania ma'am. It was super charged, super energetic talk on human rights and human mind. And yes, I promise we'll follow what Ralph Waldo Emerson sir said. The reason why the world lacks unity and lies broken in heaps is because man is disunited within himself. When I say man, he included women as well. So I'm super happy and charged to announce next set of winners. And we are super happy to recognize small efforts that has created great impact. Yes. Moving ahead, Sunita Rai ma'am, Dr. Aruna Dioskar ma'am, Karuna Sandeep Manuja ma'am, Rupanshi Huda ma'am, भापकर प्रकाश आबा साहिब जी, श्रीमती बिनीता सरकार जी, मंजुला गर्ग मैम, डॉक्टर रमेश दत्त, मनोरंजन कुमार सर, आसमा मरियम जी, डिम्पल अरोड़ा जी, डॉक्टर रचना आर पचौरी जी, डॉक्टर अंशु चक्रवर्ती, संजय दरेकर सर, डॉक्टर ऋतु गुप्ता मैम, डॉक्टर संगीता मुखर्जी, श्यामा पटनायक जी, Mr. Shrenik Shah sir, Dr. Vidya Bhushan Padi, Dr. G. Valarmathi ji, Dr. Rashmi Rekha Satapati ji, Mrs. Purva Tiwari ji, Dr. Anupreet Kaur Mokha ji, Renuka Datta ji, Sanjana Nair ji, Abhishek Pradhan sir, Aparna Nichal ma'am, Mrs. Manasmita Jeena, अनुपमा भट्टी जी, खान मेहरवीन अब्दुल करीम जी, मिसेस अमृता धनाई, जूली डे जी, डॉक्टर उषा पाठक, नीतू राठौर मैम, खान खलीदा अब्दुल करीम जी, उषा कुमारी जी, डॉक्टर वी शबरी सर, अजय कुमार जी, आई कुड सी हिम, पी पलनी जी, प्रोफेसर डेविड मोरोंडिया आईए, Dr. Carolyn David, Rajshri Jainji. And we move on to our next super speaker, Raluka Buna ma'am from Lebanon, founder and publisher of The Exclusive, managing partner at Black Card Events, CEO of World Elite Solutions. We are super happy and excited to listen to you, ma'am. Over to you, and your time starts now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, loud and clear. We would love to have you on camera as well. Yes. Now we can see your smile as well. Thank you.
Thank you all for having me today here. I'm impressed of the crowd that you are gathering here, and thank you for your positive thoughts. It really helps a lot. And for the speakers before us, like what can we also talk about now, because you covered everything.
You are very humble. We would love to listen to you, and I'm sure you have a lot of pearls of wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Romanian and I live in Lebanon. Now, because previously we were discussing the issue of women and violence and wars, and actually somehow ended up in a country in which we had a little bit of all of those recently, actually. And it's sad to see how we don't care so much about each other anymore. We are so, let's say, involved in other issues that we cannot see what's right near us. We had recently an event and we were discussing especially women in energy and how hard it is for so many to accept women in a technical sector, and how we have to make all these efforts to be equal, which is not fair. Which is not fair because we are all humans. There shouldn't be any gender gaps. We all have our role in society, regardless if we're in Lebanon, we're in India, we're in Europe, or wherever. And we all have the right to a peace inside our houses, inside our community, our country. And I'm actually a bit saddened to see what's happening. In my country, in Romania, we have a war. For what, in the end? So what I'm trying actually to say is that maybe we shouldn't focus so much on implementing projects, rules, and so on to have equality between communities, between women and men and everything. This should be normal. We should just act as it is. It's not something that should be a law. I'm not sure if what I'm saying makes sense. For me, as a woman in energy, in management, in media, it was actually very hard to see and painful to see that people need to see me as someone that has a man, for example. And I'm sure I'm not, or a man that is behind me. either a father, either a brother, either someone. And I think this is something that can start from each of us. We are the ones that put barriers. We are expecting others to.
She spoke about universal love, and I was super happy to feel yes, love has no labels, no definitions. And life is all about love. That is why it is said, love is God. Nobody said money is God. Nobody said, fame is God, power is God. So we are super thankful to Raluka ma'am for bringing in the concept of oneness, love beyond boundaries. I'm sure all of you are super excited to listen to our chief guest of the day. He's just joined us, and I would love to welcome him with a big smile, as you can feel it, see it, hear it in my voice. And we are super honored to welcome our chief guest, Professor Sir Bashiru Sir. He is a UNESCO laureate, Vice Chancellor, Crown University, International Chartered INC in US, and he is also handling higher education in various parts of the world. And we welcome you, sir, and over to you for your lovely message for today's audience. On a
Number one, I'm very excited to be with you today on behalf of my various organizations that I'm representing. Apart from being a global stakeholder on education. As we know, the education is a bedrock of any society. According to the motto of one of the society I belong to, International Charter World Learning Society, that said, untaught cannot learn to right direction. Cannot learn to right direction. So, as a learning fellow, I commend the efforts of the organizer of this wonderful event and asking me to talk on the global peace and stability, in which is very contemporary something in our society today, in which was is one of those things that we have to look into. With the topic that they gave to me that I want me to talk about the peace is a great pleasure to also to have a time with you people to discuss with you people regarding this topic. I've been invited to share with you important of these three, that concept of the security, peace, and stability. This will not be quite appreciated unless concept is fully understanding of the majority of the audience. These three concepts are interwoven and achievable only if the three concepts is acquired. When we talk about the security, peace, and stability, the concept is interwoven that the concept of security is literally referred to when we say what is security. The security literally refers to state of being free from all the kind of the danger. For example, war, unemployment, illness, or accidents, and so on and so forth. So, and to be free from the fear, access, oppression, danger, and poverty. To defend the protection and preservation of the core value and threat of those who value it, of human being. Security has to do with the freedom from the danger of threat to the nation's ability to protect and develop itself, to promote and cherish the value and legitimate interests, and to enhance well-being of these people. That is the security. So the internal security could be seen as a freedom from all absence of these tendencies, which could be undermine an internal cohesion, and the corporate existence of the country, and ability to maintain the vital institution for the promotion of the core value and social, political, and economic objects as well. So as to meet the legitimate aspiration of the people. That is the essence of the security. However, security is a woman emancipation oriented. It means that citizens must be liberated from those challenges, difficulties, and the constraints that may prevent them from carrying out what really they will be choose to do with the including epidemic, poverty, oppression, poor education, crisis, and so on and so forth. Today, politely, or politics, economically, and also demographic issue, which are non-military, tend to pose seriously threat to the people's security. This brings us to the concept of human security. According to Barry Bosa, give a theoretical insight to the understanding of the concept of security and identify the three levels of analysis, which are the individual level, national and international level. He is of the opinion that individual security, which other scholars call personal security, involve those fellow people seek to secure, include the life, health, status, freedom, wealth, and so on and so forth. Some of these threats which is individual person endanger to secure themselves form is what is referred to social security. When we are talking about social security, there's no way we cannot emphasize on the human security. The concept of human security emanates from the confessional security study, which center on the security of the state, country, human security, having to protect the vital core of all human life in such a way that enhance the human freedom and human fulfillment. It means protect the people of the country from what? From the serious or persistent threats and the situation. It means to create a political and social environment, economy, military and cultural system that together give people building block of survival and livelihood and dignity. So some of the dimensions of human security, we have economic security, we have food security, and we have the air security. Let me emphasize them one by one. When we talk about the economic security, which is one of the bedrock of our society today, we say that this is a type of this security require assured basic income for individual, mostly from the productive administration work or from the publicity finance safety net. Major threat of the economic security and poverty and employment, indebtedness and lack of income. That's of the economic security. Because if you have not certified for what you want to eat, what you want to survive with your family, if you don't have fear of God or you don't protect your image, you can do otherwise because of economic security. When you lack of an economic security, it can lead to the another opposite. That's also due to the food security. When we say food security, what is the food security? Food security demands that all people at all times have both physical and economic access to the basic food. At least it's popularly known 3 times daily meal. If you are like 3 times daily meal, you're supposed to take 3 times, you take 1 time, or you take half, or you don't have anything. It's very dangerous for the society. It's part of economic security. So to access the basic food, major threats of this include hunger, famine, and the lack of physical and economic access to the basic availability of the food when it's not a problem. So that's what's economic security. Rather than problem of often poor distribution of the food, lack of processing power. Now, another security that can challenge us globally is air security. This tends to guarantee minimal protection for disease on a head daily life major cause of the death. Traditionally, were infection and disease, inadequate health care, new and recurrent disease, include epidemic, pandemic, poor nutrition, unsafe environment, unsafe lifestyle. However, lifestyle related to the chronic disease that led to killer of the globally with almost 8% of the death for chronic disease in development in the development countries. threats to the health security are usually greater for poor people in local area, particularly children. So this is as a result of poor or bad nutrition can lead to all of these things, and inadequate access to the earth, clean water, and other necessities. So it's part of the health security when you don't have good facility for our hospital, for our clinic, and for our environment. You don't have pure water to drink, and the environment pollution. And when the health worker, you don't have adequate, competent health worker, or they are not perform their normal duty. It is also part of the challenge we can have in health security. Environmental security, this is a primary goal of this to protect the people from all of the short and long length ravage of nature. The deterioration of the natural environment. Lack of clean water resources is one of the greatest environmental threats. That's under the environmental security. Now, personal security or individual security, this is all about the protection of individual and the people form of physical violence either from the state or outside the state. It could be violent individual, some state actor, from domestic abuse, hence greater and other common threats to the personal security from the state. Torture and some other like war or group of people or ethnic religion or individual or security threats for the religion or for the political reason or for other reason. So when somebody do have a minimal personal security, many vary from place to place. It depends on the environment, or like armed robber, burglary, food poisoning, electronic, or any other thing that also can lead to the personal security. Maybe either for religious purpose, either Christian or Muslim, Hindu or Buddha, when they are not understanding each other, it can lead to the personal security. Husband and wife, it can lead to the personal security. When you are not trust your fellow couple, for your fellow human being, or your wife or your husband is not trust, that's one can, when you don't have you are not contented, you are not satisfied with the person you are with, it can lead to any other opposite aspect of it. These are two types of peace. Intrapersonal peace is a peace that exists within the individual. Interpersonal peace, this is a exists among the people. Individual peace and individual without peace cannot give peace to another person or other around. You can only have peace when you are satisfied giving peace to others. But when you are not satisfied within around you, such as injustice, no employment, good road, clean water, no electricity, and so on and so forth, peace may be elude you and people around you may be suffer. So any given task, the end of justice justified the needs, and this is where the concept of stability came in. In essence, stability is the end result of the good, secure, peaceful environment, concepts which develop challenge of both security and peace overcome, either jointly or individually, as we are know that every individual family has a micro scheme of giving nation or country. Therefore, we could only agree that three concepts working hand in hand to entire development. However, this is not achievable in any given country unless and until people of like mind and progress in the nature occupy the seat of power. To facilitate all states' resources toward the world development without any prejudice to the both individual and group of individuals. To solve all the tribal boundary and religion intervention which militant against the desired goal. Thank you for listening. Yours in academic world, UNESCO laureate, Professor Sir Bashiru Aremu, the Vice Chancellor of Crown University International Charter Incorporated, with teaching and research officer campus in Santa Cruz province in Argentina, South America, with officer consistent campus at government regulated university worldwide, and online operation. Thank you again for your listening. I really appreciate your invitation.
Professor Dr. Suraya Banu ma'am, Assistant Professor in Computer Science, Bhilai Nagar, Global Peace Brand Ambassador, International Humanitarian, International Keynote Speaker. She is doctorate in philosophy focused in computer science in a school which is of international level. So, welcome, ma'am.
Very good evening to one and all. Thank you, sir, for inviting me. Thank you. All the topics are mostly covered by guests. So I want to share my thoughts on the theme global peace and harmony. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, each one has to find his peace from within, and peace to be real must be unaffected by outside circumstances. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, what you do are in harmony. And he also said, you can chain me, you can torture me, you can even destroy this body, but you will never imprison my mind. Peace means living our lives selflessly, treating others with respect, sharing the extra that comes to us with others who have been shortchanged. It means being in wilderness without fear, but with respect for the world around us. If people are living in harmony with each other, they are living together peacefully rather than fighting or arguing. We must try to live in peace and harmony with ourselves and those around us. In the words of United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, everyone has a responsibility to advance peace and harmony to create a better world for all people. The purpose of peace is a concept of social friendship and harmony in the absence of hostility and violence. In a social sense, peace is commonly used to mean a lack of conflict and freedom from fear of violence between individual or group. The value of peace is in the form of caring, respecting others, and tolerating. In addition, there were behaviors that did not reflect the value of peace, such as unfair treatment, discrimination, uncooperative, not accepting differences, and violating the rules. The need of peace is the path we take for bringing growth and prosperity to society. If we do not have peace and harmony, achieving political strength, economic stability, and cultural growth will be impossible. Moreover, before we transmit the notion of peace to others, it is vital for us to possess peace within. As Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of United Nations, said, peace is never a perfect achievement. The world is not ours to keep. We hold it in trust and for future generations. Peace has two sides, negative peace and positive peace. The negative peace is the absence of personal violence, and the positive peace is the absence of structural violence or social justice. Then the question arises, how can we bring peace to the world? Start by stamping out exclusions, bring out true equality between women and men, share out wealth fairly, tackle climate change, control arms sales, protect political spaces, fix intergenerational relations. These are few points. How can we bring peace to the world? In the field of peace studies, Johnson's three categories is peace as word without war, peace as word justice, and peace as word order. Mother Teresa said in her Nobel Peace Prize lecture in 1979, love brings at home, and it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the action that we do. How can we promote peace and unity in our community? Is the main point. To make peace in our community, get involved in local events and talk to people in our area. Consider planning an event like a community picnic, a food drive, or a local food bank, or a peaceful protest to raise awareness for a local issue. We can also volunteer at local organizations to help our community. Then how can we promote peace as a student? Model kindness and empathy, repair, don't punish, create a democratic space, use experimental learning, give a voice to the excluded, encourage collaboration in diverse groups, discuss controversial issues, integrate service learning. These are some few points that how can we promote peace as a student. A peaceful society is the basis of a vibrant, happy, and prosperous nation. Hence, peace is a sign for the overall development of the people and the country. Access to justice and effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels are the prerequisites of a peaceful society. As John Lewis said, not one of us can rest, be happy, be at home, be at place without ourselves until we end hatred and division. At last, I conclude, peace and harmony are very important for the extension of mankind. It promotes the prosperity and development of the nation. Harmony means to be good with everyone in society. Peace and harmony make the society and nation a better place to live. Earth needs peace in order to survive. This applies to every angle, including wars, pollution, natural disasters, and more. When peace and harmony are maintained, things will continue to run smoothly without any delay. Moreover, it can be a savior for many who do not wish to engage in any disrupting activities or more. Peace and harmony, dealing with disputes and resolving conflicts fairly and properly with neutralization and middle way principle to further the welfare of each individual as well as all well-beings of mankind as a whole. Peace and harmony of the mankind society should be integral and comprehensive. The positive impact of the peace for countries' development are the economics will have peace environment accumulate more physical and human capital accumulation and enhanced economic growth rapidly. Peace contributes to economic growth by the ways of increasing of productivity in capital and labor, good governance, tourist arrival, and efficient of institution also. Without peace, it will not be possible to achieve the levels of trust, cooperation, and inclusiveness needed for society to be resilient to shocks, manage disputes, and adapt to changes in the environments. As Nelson Mandela said, what counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others. It is in your hands to make a better world for all who live in it. Do not judge me by my success, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. Lead from the back and let others believe they are in front. And he also said, it always seems impossible until it's done. आज देश के राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी और पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी के जन्म को हम अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अहिंसा दिवस के रूप में भी मनाते हैं। सादा जीवन और उच्च विचार के बलबूते पर इन महान विभूतियों ने देश का मान सम्मान बढ़ाया, धरती पर जन्म लिया, भारत को विश्व पटल पर एक नई पहचान दिलाई। इन्होंने दुनिया को यह बताया कि अगर इंसान के अंदर आत्मविश्वास हो तो वह कुछ भी हासिल कर सकता है। इनके स्मरण में हम अष्टपूरी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करते हुए लाल बहादुर शास्त्री के अनमोल वचन को हम स्मरण करना चाहेंगे। लोगों को सच्चा लोकतंत्र या स्वराज कभी भी असत्य या अहिंसा से प्राप्त नहीं हो सकता। कानून का सम्मान किया जाना चाहिए ताकि हमारे लोकतंत्र की बुनियादी संरचना मजबूत बने। उन्होंने ये भी कहा, हम सब अपने लिए ही नहीं बल्कि समस्त विश्व के लिए शांति और शांतिपूर्ण विकास में विश्वास रखते हैं। हम सभी को अपने अपने क्षेत्रों में उसी समर्पण, उसी उत्साह और उसी संकल्प के साथ काम करना होगा जो रणभूमि में एक योद्धा को प्रेरित और उत्साहित करता है। गांधी जी का, महात्मा गांधी जी के विचार थे, विश्व के सभी धर्म भले ही और चीजों में अंतर रखते हो, लेकिन सभी इस बात पर एक मत है कि दुनिया में कुछ नहीं, बस सत्य जीवित रहता है। मेरा धर्म सत्य और अहिंसा पर आधारित है। सत्य मेरा भगवान है, अहिंसा में उसे पाने का साधन है। उन्होंने कहा, आप जो करते हैं वह नगण्य होगा, लेकिन आपके लिए वह करना बहुत अहम होगा। एक बार फिर आप सभी का मैं तहे दिल से इस्तकबाल करती हूँ और सारे अवार्डियोज को दिल से दिली मुबारकबाद पेश करती हूँ। हेड्स अप टू यू डॉक्टर विक्रांत सिंगर सर, मैडम शैलनी मैम राय for inviting me such a great moment as a guest. Thank you. Thanks all. Greetings from Chhattisgarh, India. This is Professor Dr. Surya Vara. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Now let's come to the next set of awardees who are waiting patiently. Shaili Ajay Mishra, Aruna N. Gulunjkar, Joseph Mekireth, Dr. Pranjan Kumar Fukan, Dr. Smita Shukla, Thomas Kakumanu, Ankita Vijay Kamerkar, S. Chitra, Sanjay Mitra, Sapna Agarwal, N. Pragati, Syed Arifuddin, Salma Shaheen, Padma Priya, Divya Puri, Kanchi Shah, Engineer Ravi Shankar Kumar, Suresh Reddy Thumma, Dr. Dipali Shargev, Professor Kiran Patil, Dr. Rajkumar Mohanlal Sharma, Professor Pradipta Mandal, Dr. Haranarayan Padhi, Kusum Lata Rathore. Jaswant Kaur Sikka, Dr. P. James Mary, Rupal Pandya, Manisha Dhar, Patricia Gonde, Obuzuazu, Doris Obiageli, Shalini Gupta, Navneet Singh, Mrs. Asha Jain, Dr. Augustus Elizabeth Koruma, Dr. Abdur Ruf Naqvi, Dr. Prachi Beriwala, Yabishra Mekuria, Dr. Neeraj Bohra, Temesgen Bireja, Aarti Jadhav, Pankaj Sharma, Shivani Nayak. Congratulations to this set of awardees.